Very interesting matchup here in the Olympic Sports Complex in Moscow. This man, Serік Qolgap, the veteran at just 24 years of age. He lost the World Championship in stunning fashion to Mark Breland of the United States. This young man, Mylon Uotkins from Tacoma, is built a lot like Mark Breland. Long arms, 6'3", and he's in the tough class that Breland dominates in the United States welterweight division. Round one, and a big graduation day for Mylon Uotkins it is, coming out of the Junior World Championships, where he impressively stopped the Bulgarian in the first round to win a World Junior Championship. His first international bout against the big guys. And what a man he has chosen in Serік Qolgap. Qolgap has won 4 dual meets against the United States. His only loss to an American was to Mark Breland of the World Championships in Munich. When Breland was so impressive, he was named the outstanding boxer of the meet. The young man, Uotkins, not the least bit intimidated so far by Qolgap. Mylon's just 18 years of age, still a high school student at Wilson High in Tacoma. And like Mark Breland, the man he idolizes and aspires to someday perhaps dethrone in this welterweight division, he's got the long arms and the tremendous reach that goes along with that advantage. Qolgap won his first European championship back in 1979, and then suffered the indignity of losing the Olympic gold medal bout in his hometown, right here in the Olympic Sports Complex in Moscow, to an Italian, Patrizio Oliva, who's gone on to be a pretty good pro. So as you look at the record of Qolgap, he's a consistent bridesmaid, but his trouble going all the way to the gold medal podium, and that's what he's aiming for in Los Angeles in the Olympics this summer. Who knows? He may be right up against Mark Breland again. Now getting a bit of a test run against a similar style of Breland. Here's the referee, Stan Hamilton, from Knoxville, Tennessee, with a caution to Mylon Uotkins. Uotkins very fluid like Breland, very loose, and surprisingly confident against the man with the credentials of Qolgap and his corresponding experience. We're midway in the first round now. Talking with Mylon before the bout, he said he wouldn't be nervous, and lo and behold, he looks mighty loose in there. Qolgap is tough, though. He can take a punch. When Breland decked him in Munich, it was a big surprise for the amateur boxing world. Holding caution against Qolgap. First round scheduled for 3 in the welterweight division. The United States and the Soviet Union tied at 3 wins apiece in this 12-bout dual card here in Moscow. Uotkins trying to set something up with the left hand. Qolgap constantly moving around, so he won't be an easy target for Mylon Uotkins. He knows the credentials of Uotkins coming out of the World Junior Championships and how he tagged the Bulgarian to win his gold medal there. Less than 30 seconds remaining now in the first round. Constant movement, bouncing by Qolgap. Uotkins succeeding a little bit now in backing the veteran up. Coming forward with a good flurry that excites this crowd here in Moscow. They have not been too animated or vocal so far. Only recently have had any reason to be that way, as they came back from a 3-0 deficit to tie this dual meet at 3. Just seconds remaining now in the first round. Out of the first round against Mylon Uotkins as they work on him in the Soviet corner. Not too serious. Stan Hamilton, though, the referee, over to have a look. And there's no question that Stan Hamilton now would like the ringside doctor just to verify that it is not a serious cut. That must have happened very late in the round. There was no sign of it earlier on the part of Qolgap. Doctor with a fast look as the tone is counting down to round 2. He's okay. So, Qolgap and Mylon Uotkins ready for the second round, scheduled for 3 in the welterweight bout. The U.S. and the Soviets tied 3-3 in wins. Qolgap late in that round with his movement seemed to confuse Uotkins a bit more, who really gave a good account of himself for at least the first 2 minutes of the bout. The southpaw from Tacoma, Washington, scored well with the jab, did not follow through with his big left hand as he might have liked. But here again, early in the second round, is backing the veteran Qolgap up. A low head caution from the referee to Qolgap. Referee again in amateur boxing has no vote. 3 ringside judges will do that again in each bout. It's an American, a Soviet, and a neutral judge from Great Britain. Good right by Qolgap. Rips it through to Mylon Watkins. Tags him again with it. Qolgap, a good showing with 2 forceful blows early in the second round. Watkins, for the first time, is backing up. He was doing that to Qolgap regularly in the first round. A good round for Mylon. I thought he might have won. It's turned around on the ropes. The crowd gets a chuckle out of that. Again, a very quiet crowd here in Moscow today. Not the boisterous kind of following that attends many boxing matches in the United States, pro or amateur. We're midway in the second round. It is scheduled for 3. Watkins still giving a good account of himself, but Qolgap picking up points in the second round. Turns Mylon around, but failed to capitalize when he had him in the corner. And is cautioned for turning him around by Stan Hamilton from Knoxville, Tennessee. It's a very tough division, and the confident young Watkins is not discounting his chances of making the Olympic team, but to do that this year, he would have to beat out Mark Whelan, a man who has lost but once in his outstanding amateur career. Whelan, the guy that if he's a surefire gold medal winner, if such a thing exists on the United States part, he is it. If that hand that he had surgery on last spring holds up for him, and to this point it has. What a learning experience for Mylon Watkins, fighting internationally against a foreign crowd thousands of miles from home, televised nationally in the United States and the Soviet Union, against a fighter of the caliber and credentials of Serік Qolgap. He's handling himself extremely well, but perhaps losing some points he may have earned in the first round in this second round. You see now it is Watkins moving in reverse gear. Qolgap, the veteran, more and more taking control of the bow. Tags it with the right. Watkins got through with the left now. Just a few seconds left of the second round, but it's been a better one for Qolgap of the USSR. Right at the bell. A good right again by Serік Qolgap, piling up points late in round number 2. Mylon Watkins held his own for the first half of that round, but here, perhaps the most telling blow of them all in round 2, the right delivered by Qolgap. Don Chevrier back with you from Moscow for the third round of an interesting welterweight matchup between 18-year-old Mylon Watkins of the United States and the cagey veteran Serік Qolgap of the Soviet Union. Watkins with a good first round. Qolgap really coming into his own in the second round, backing Watkins up. So it perhaps is on the line here in this third and final round in the sports complex in Moscow. Qolgap, one of the real favorites of the Soviet fans over the years, with his credentials going through the Olympic Games, into the World Championships, getting silver medals in both. Expected to breeze past Watkins here, but that has not been the case, despite a good second round for Serік. However, he has seemingly solved the long arms of Mylon Watkins, getting inside him and scoring effectively, particularly in the closing couple of seconds of that second round. Stung Mylon with a good, stiff right hand. Qolgap pushing him off again now as the caution for holding is given by referee Stan Hamilton to Mylon Watkins. A lot of good raw talent on the part of Watkins. Needs a little refining, perhaps. Remember, this is his first international bout. The crowd now starting to chant, getting behind Qolgap all the more. First time they have really come alive today. The United States shut them out of the first 3 bouts. Soviets came back to win the next 3. Here's the go-ahead bout into round 3 right now. Good right hand by Qolgap. What he gives away in height and reach to Watkins, he makes up for in quickness, to be sure. And, of course, the experience factor. He is 6 years older and has fought the top amateurs around the world the last few years. And his first European championship 5 years ago. Watkins moving, but in retreat. Less than a minute to go in the third round. A quick right comes out, followed by a left by Mylon Watkins. again. Qolgap beating Watkins to the punch, making the young man look a little bit awkward at this stage. Russian corner, caution for talking, that is not allowed in amateur bouts international. Less than 30 seconds to go in the round, the third and final round of the welterweight bout. Qolgap looks to be in command now. Mylon Watkins, who got off to a good start. I thought he won the first round. Lost the second to Qolgap, and the experienced Soviet fighter has been piling up points against the game young man from Tacoma here in the third. And that's the bell to end their three-round welterweight matchup. Decide which country goes ahead here in this dual boxing meet. Soviet crowd appreciating what they saw from Qolgap there. Love their boxing in Moscow, and they love the way this man fights when he's right, and Qolgap looked right in rounds 2 and 3. There's the right hand lunging out to the taller man, Watkins, nailing him with it. Here's the decision now.
Победу одержал Серік Қонақбаев, Советский Союз.
Серік Qolgap has won a unanimous decision over Mylon Watkins of the United States. Watkins, in his first international bout, gave a good account of himself, but he couldn't handle the veteran Qolgap. So the Soviets lead for the first time today, 4 bouts to 3.